Hello guys, you're watching Played Right, and today we're gonna go through the gameplay of Alexander's Campaign, a game created by Alcyon Creative. Alexander's Campaign is a game based on the actual historic facts of the campaign of Alexander the Great through Asia Minor. It's a fast-paced competitive game for 2 or 3 players, and it lasts 45 minutes to 1 hour. Each player takes the role of one of Alexander's generals. You have Craterus, Ptolemy, and Antigonus, and they actually compete against each other who will be the one that Alexander the Great favors and makes him second in command. The generals have different special abilities, they have different objectives, and they can use different tactics. There is definitely a lot of interaction between the players, and while playing you're constantly thinking, what will my opponent do next, and try to figure out where they will go. And even when choosing to pass as an action, it can be strategic and interesting. Here we have the prototype of the game. This is not going to be the exact final product. There's going to be different illustrations and different game components, but let's go through it to see what there is. Here we have the map of the campaign of Alexander. We see here there's the pawn of Alexander the Great, the military, and you see there is a linear trajectory. The game starts from Amphipolis, and when he passes again from Babylon for the second time, then the game ends there. Here we have the player mats. They have different abilities that they can use twice. They have different objectives. So here we see some cities that this is their agenda. They're different for each player, but it's open, so everyone can see your objectives. Also, you mark how many objective cities you have completed. And here you have some formations that the military you command can take. Here you have all the points of the game that you collect, and then you have some provincial events. If you see, there's different color to designate the different provinces. So for each province you have a different provincial event, which is open throughout the whole province. Here you have your tactics styles. They're different for each general. This is for Antigonus, for example. I'm going to talk later about this in more detail. You also have some exploration tiles, which you get when you choose the action to explore. And you also have some buildings. You have settlements, strongholds, and temples, which you need to build because they give you a lot of points. As you see, next to each city you have some numbers. These are the ratings of the city and the points you get, basically, by conquering it. Whenever you conquer a city, then you move Alexander's pawn. There are basically 2 ways to win the game. One way is to conquer 6 out of 8 objective cities from your objective card, in which case the game ends immediately and you're the winner. If this doesn't happen, then the points you are collecting play a role. So in the end, the player with the most objective cities conquered, they get 10 extra points, and then you add that to whichever score you have, and you add to this your exploration tiles if you have any extra points from that, and you make sure to subtract any unused tactics in your formations, because you have to use them. Also, there are some criteria that you have to satisfy in order to claim the victory. You have to use all of your available formations. You have to have built at least one building of each, like one settlement, one temple, one stronghold, and you have to have at least taken 2 exploration tiles. So let's see what you can do in your turn. Let's see the player's actions. First of all, we have the assault action. If it's successful, then you move Alexander's pawn to the next city. To see if it's successful or not, you just roll a 6-sided die. If it's 3 to 6, then it was successful, it was conquered. If it wasn't 1 or 2, then it was unsuccessful and your turn ends there. If it was successful, you have an option to do another action, which is the Great Mason, in which case you can use your resources either by your tactics tiles or your exploration tiles, and you can build stuff. You can build settlements, strongholds, or temples. For example, for the strongholds, you need 1 iron and 1 stone, and you build a stronghold. In which case, this triples the amount of points you would have gotten from just the successful assault. So if you were to have from Palmyra, for example, 3 points, then with the stronghold it's tripled, you get 9. The settlements give you twice the points and the temples give you 4 times the points. So basically building stuff allows you to move ahead in the points section. Then you also have the exploration action. If you choose the exploration action, you have to spend the tactic tile with the exploration symbol on it, which is the eye, and you just move the pawn of Alexander to the next city. You get the points of it, and you get also an exploration tile. If you don't want to do any of the 2 options, assault or exploration, you can choose to pass, and then the next player has to go on. Or you can do taxation. With taxation, basically you get back all the tactics tiles that you spent, but you can do taxation in the same city more than once. So the next player, if you do taxation, he can't use it if you're in the same city still. And then you have the truce action, which basically you can use once in the game, and you play it during someone else's turn, and you make the other person lose her turn. So let's talk about the tactics. The tactics basically are the main currency of the game. The tactics tiles, as we saw before, you can spend them to use them for the exploration action, or you can spend them for the resources that they have if you want to build stuff. And there is also another use of them. You can spend them during the assault action if you want to use specific formations of your military to bolster your forces and be more effective in your assault. If you use the cavalry, you have a second assault action, which means that you can assault 2 cities in a row if you are successful in your first one, or you can assault the same city twice if you weren't successful. When you use one of your tactic styles, when you spend them, you have to move your pawn 1 space. And as you can see, there is limited space for these, so you can use each one of them 3 times. And there is also a penalty if you don't use them enough. So if the game ends and you're here, then you have -4 points because you didn't use it all the way. Then you have the archers that allow you to assault 1 city further than the next. So you don't need to assault the next, you can move on. And you have the Macedonian phalanx, which allows you to successfully assault a city without even rolling the die, so it's immediate effect. And you can use the different tactics with different combinations. And that was Alexander's campaign in a nutshell, fast-paced and historically accurate. I hope you enjoy the game, and thank you for watching.